and welcome to another edition of the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast. I'm your host, Vickie Remoe, writer, producer, everythinger, and just an all-around fabulous human being. Today on the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast, I'm talking about culture. More specifically, I'm talking about the culture of Freetown's most famous or most known residents, the Creo people. I am an ethnic Creo, and by ethnic Creo, I simply mean that somebody in my family and one of my parents is Creo. But the other side of my family is from the north. They're Timnees. I have a joke that I make that I say I'm Creo from Monday to Friday, and I'm Timnee on the weekends. Which can tell you a little bit about how I behave or think about culture. I think of culture as something that's very fluid. However, there are a lot of people who feel like Creo culture is dying. Creo is both a language and an ethnic group. A language that is the first language for about 350,000 people in Freetown. And for that, I mean that first language, meaning them people, then they were them born, the first language where they learn na salon, na Creo. So for 350,000 people, Creo is their first language. But Creo is the lingua franca, meaning the language that is spoken by about 3 million people in Sierra Leone. It is the most widely spoken language across the country. But Creo is also an ethnic group. What is an ethnic group? An ethnic group is a group that is connected either by shared culture or by having shared ancestors. Now, most people who are Timnee or Mende or Fulani in Sierra Leone, they not only share culture, but they also share ancestors, meaning that they're from a place, a geographic location, where in their village, everybody's connected because na auntie, sister, cousin, grandpa, great-granny, na dem been settled, then go say, na one camara from Tkade, we come yanda, na imborn, all the people that we did na So in a way, they have shared genetics. One thing that makes Creos really special is that as an ethnic group, the people who are predominantly Creos, they're not really fumble in that kind of way they way Fulamande and fumble and get shared genetic DNA, or Mende and get the same shared genetic DNA or ancestors. Because we know say the Creole that we settle na Freetown originally, na come. Either then come by, well actually not so either then come by boats. They're all come by boats. Either you boats come on at the New World, meaning America, Europe, the Caribbean, or Canada, or you both come on at other parts of Africa, namely Nigeria, Ghana, or the Congo, while the British, they intercept, then slave ship that we been they pass for, where they don't thief people there in a different African country, where they be one carry then go to the New World. We know say by the time where the British did not abolish slavery, the British Navy been they parade the water them off the coast of West Africa. So anytime where they catch boats them, where they na the water, they would bring those people who are on the boats and release them in Freetown because the colony been already established. So today we're going to have an intergenerational conversation among Creoles, me being the one in the middle age and somebody younger than me, and then of course my first very special guest, my father, who's joining us here in the studio. So, ladies and gentlemen, today on the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast, Creo culture, is it dying? Let's get into it. My first guest in the studio today is Bossedeh George. Actually, like calling full name Fauna. Harold Bossedeh Africanos George. He's a tour guide, a Creole language teacher here in Freetown. He works with diplomats and experts to break language and cultural barriers for them to basically easily assimilate or connect with Sierra Leone while they're here. So, Bossedeh George, welcome to the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast.
Thank you very much, Vickie.
You're welcome. The next guest is my father, Victor, the one who named me Vickie. Victor is a retired senior police officer from the Sierra Leone Police who has been retired, forced retirement, for over 3 decades. He is now an entrepreneur, a real estate developer. But before that, he had immigrated to the United States where he naturalized and lived for a little over 2 decades and had a bunch of us, meaning me and my siblings. And he raised us in the US, and then, he decided to come back to Sierra Leone, and now he's here. He's incredibly active in the Methodist Church of Sierra Leone, very proudly. He's also a deacon in his church at Hamilton Village, though as I say village, he's going to say no to village. Daddy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so how I want to start the conversation, first of all, is I want to ask Una, waiting on your own understanding of culture, right? According to you, waiting a culture to you. Bossedeh, I go start with you.
So culture to me is the entire way of life of a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So the way of life will comprises of material objects and non-material objects.
Okay.
So material objects will talk about the architecture, the clothing, the cuisine, the artifact, just things that you can actually touch. Mm-hmm. And non-material object will be the language, the norms, the culture, the social institutions, social behaviors, and all of those other music and all of those other things. Those are the things that comprises a culture. Mm-hmm. And a culture should be able to move from one generation to another generation. So the entire way of life of a group of people that comprise material object and non-material object that is transferred from one generation to another.
Okay, if this was like an essay question or a response in like WASC, you would have gotten 100%. But yeah, so when sociologists and philosophers and they talk about culture, then they define culture as any way you able to pass from one generation to another, way not to through DNA, right? Non-genetic things that pass on, because say the other way you go pass on like DNA, people then go get the same DNA traits, but culture is basically any behavior, belief system, or thing that way they pass from one generation to another without DNA. Daddy, tell me, when you were younger in Sierra Leone, you're now in your 70s. When you were younger in Sierra Leone, what are some of the things that we una been they do, where you been they do with your family, or where your family been they practice, where you been looking like for say, this is like this are Creole culture to me. This are we own culture. What are some of the things that una been they do?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, it's like in our own days. Mm-hmm. If you live in a community, like my community that I used to live, or I'm still living, you will know that there are several other groups of people. Mm-hmm. But if you are a Creole, you know what is Sunday, what is Monday, you know every day of the week, mm-hmm. right? What should happen that day. Okay. On Sunday, you get up in the morning, you go to church. From church, you come home, have a quiet time, have lunch. Because probably what you can provide in your house, another member of a Creole group of family can provide. Mm-hmm. And you can always share. Okay. And you share, you like to share, you share without grudge.
Okay.
Right? That, because people will prefer to share that they see a Creole person going down the drain.
Okay.
Not able to provide for a family.
Okay.
They come to share. And those days when you are home and you observe, right? Whether we know when somebody's cooking without when somebody's not cooking.
Okay.
You will know.
What does this mean?
Because you will see the smoke. You will see the smoke.
People then they observe.
And somebody, well, the elder of your family would go and inquire what's happening there. Yes, and they would share.
Okay.
Comfortable.
Okay.
And for us, like when they prepare food on Sunday, most of that food is left for Monday.
So now na invent colors.
Well, it is. People You prefer to eat what we call Koreans. They're going out to the public and buying cookie. And what our parents usually say, what you prepare in your house, right, is what is supposed to be for you. Okay. What's the meaning right that you actually know what's in the sauce.
I see.
What goes into prepare that sauce, right? Not what somebody is like this cookie. People are
sure.
They become so commercial and they
sure.
Okay.
So basically, you're saying that like the big part of the Creole life was or Creole culture for your life when you were growing up was like the rhythm of life, or it was somewhat regimented, meaning that the function of wetin we dey do today is determined by the day. So if this na Monday, the way we dey do Monday, but because we're not gonna do it till they do Tuesday, Monday. We're not gonna do it till they do Friday, Sunday, because each day like get now by day. Okay, I understand. But say
and also it's like when you eat rice on Sunday, eat rice on Monday, you cannot eat rice on Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday you eat fufu.
Okay.
And you go down like that. And probably when it's like coming to Friday, most people Friday will prepare beans.
Oh, that they didn't binge.
Yes, beans. Yes.
Fried flag.
Yes, and Saturday they go back to their fufu.
I see.
Yes.
So what? Creole is not about to get every day.
No, we can't. I say we did. Okay. When it was convenient, when it was economically convenient.
Okay.
Not now.
Okay. Okay. Bossedeh, tell me about growing up Creole in modern times, right? Wetin that it's in are your experiences of Creole life, wetin that did talk so it match your experience? Are there differences? How do you live now as a Creole young person?
So it's very similar, but it's also very dynamic now because we all observe the day. We know Sunday we don't have to eat before we go to church, and then after church we have to come home and all of that. And Saturday, but I think because of our family are different, so my parents sells in the market. They are petty traders, so of course we don't sell on Sunday. And most Creole will not sell on Sunday. Okay. So we'll rest on Sunday, go to church, and just be in the home. Sometimes we want to use the opportunity to go out. My grandmother's life is like, this is not Sunday, or not, but then it's waiting happen. But on Saturday, it's so difficult for us to do fufu. So because then we'll sell Saturday night, sell day. So they will actually do the fufu on Sunday interchangeably with fried soup. But my family also like practicing a lot of like the Creole culture, of the name, of the talking the proper Creole, of the customs, the tradition. Most of it's really preserved, of the dress code.
Okay.
I always go tell my uncle, say, see, this is not first Sunday. Why you wear African? He say, what's the left mate? That's how they wear.
So you wear first Sunday, not for wear Africana?
Yeah.
You should look like what? Like our forefathers.
Okay.
They shoot.
So first Sunday na suit.
Yes, because most of the time you go for it's a communion Sunday.
Okay. Yes. So basically it's that. So what I hear is family and the home and food, and I also hear church, right? That church life is a big part of Creole identity. But we know that there are people who are Creoles. Oh, okay. For you, Daddy, do you separate Creoles from the Okus, or they're the same people answer you?
It is the same.
Okay.
Same.
But the religion different.
Well, because of probably it is not it's a situation where they are treated in Freetown.
Oh, okay, the geography.
Yes, if you go to Hastings, you have your Okus there that are Christian.
Okay.
If in Mauritania, but it's like when you go to like the Fobe, the Fulata, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, and the Creole actually played a pivotal part in spreading Christianity all around West Africa. So they said out of like 9 missionaries, 5 of them will be Creole in the 19th century. So they played only you have some Muslim Creole, but 90% of Creole are Christian.
Do you feel that, because one of the things that we people can talk about a lot of times now, like Daddy said, you have to dress like our ancestors. And the ancestors way that they talk about, now the ancestors, the way dress very British, right? Bossedeh, do you feel like Creole culture is more African than English or more English than African? What do you go say?
Well, I think in a scale of 1 to 10, and I'm not supposed to choose 5,
Okay.
I will say it is more English.
Okay.
6.
Okay. So just a little slight difference.
Yes, because we have we maintain most of, because you have the captives, so they were actually four set of people that make up the Creole people. So you have the Black poets from England and Nova Scotians, the Maroons, who had Western culture. We're from like America, from England, and they're from different places, and they have Western culture. And you have the captives who were from places in Africa, as you've said before. So they have African cultures, and the captives were very few. And the early settlers, the 3 other people, were very influential.
Okay.
So it was just a little bit of the captive, and then the influential settlers, the early settlers. So it's more English.
So you think that there was like some kind of hierarchy in when the colony originally formed, there was some kind of hierarchy where those Creoles who came from the New World were more the custodians of the culture for setting the standard of behavior. So when the captives and then come, now waiting they meet the people the way they meet Yaso, the Creole community, now they then join, and I then go tell them, say, now so we they do, not so we they do. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So, because it was after like they had to intermarriage
Okay.
with the early settlers, they had to like fight to communicate, because the early settlers knew English,
Right.
and these captives knew African language.
Okay.
So it is in their intermarriage, in their struggle to communicate, that's where you have the Creole language.
Okay.
So it's a blend of those two people. You have the language, but it is the early settlers that were the custodians of the Creole culture, which was very English,
Okay.
than the captives
Okay.
who had through intermarriage to be able to be part of the tribe itself.
Daddy, how did our family come to Freetown? I know that we're 2 parts, right? I think the easy part is the Nigeria side we'd already figure out, right? But the Faulkner side, how did the Faulkners on your maternal side, come to be in Freetown?
I don't actually know, but I actually know that the Faulkners were from Fernando.
Okay. That's Equatorial Guinea?
Yes, somewhere else.
Okay. Okay.
There were about 4 of them brothers that came.
Okay.
But also know that the father of my grandfather,
Your maternal grandfather?
yes,
Okay.
who is supposed to be my great-grandfather, was the first Black commissioner in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
That's why it was...
Commissioner of what?
Like when you say, representing the governor.
Government representative.
Yes,
Okay.
governor.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
when,
Okay.
like good prophecy, they say, what they will say, commissioner, not commissioner of this.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
the governor.
okay.
Right?
In the Western area.
The Western area.
Okay.
That's what was based at Waterloo.
Okay.
Because that's why you had the Western area, or the...
Opa.
Yes, Oma headquarters at that
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, sorry.
Yes. So, yes.
No, this not before we. Can they urban and rural not be there? Now we just Western.
Generally, generally.
Yes,
There was the commissioner rural area.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner rural area. That rural area encompassed from Songo, what they call say the British Songo, from this Songo round to York, Banana,
Vickie Thailand.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He was the first Black commissioner, and from there, I think it was. Normally they were, go around the
Peninsula, right?
And it was in one of those trips that they probably met my great grandmother, and they had my grandfather. Yes, and my grandfather worked. I think started working in the Marines here, and then he was transferred to the Marines at Forcados in Nigeria.
At where?
Forcados.
Forcados.
Yes, Forcados.
Okay. What state is that?
Forcados, it is. You can check. Forcados, I think probably the Delta or someplace. The Delta. Yes, Delta. Forcados, Lokoja. He
Okay.
worked there where you had like the British Marines then.
Okay.
And he worked there. After he retired, he came back home and yes.
Okay. So tell me about you were born in Lagos.
Yes, born in
Tell me
Lagos.
how come you were born. Okay, Forcados is a small town in Burukutu, LGA of Delta State, Nigeria.
In Delta.
And it's on the Forcados River.
Okay, that's right. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. We learn something new every day. We learn something new every day. When people think about like the Niger Delta and oil, this is the area that they're often thinking about. It's also where when you think about like Warri, et cetera, this is the same region. Tell me how your mother and like your father's side, your maternal side, Faulkner side, end up in Nigeria.
That's what I say. My grandfather went to work in Nigeria.
And then what happened?
And then he had about 8 kids. 8 kids in Nigeria.
I did not know that. I thought it was just for...
No. 8 kids in Nigeria. And when he retired, he said to himself, I'm going to bring all of my, kids, my kids.
Children back to Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone.
Okay.
And I think he bought the Apapa ticket.
Okay.
Apapa was the
Boat?
Was the boat there, Apapa.
Okay.
And they came. That was like in 19, but 46, 47.
Okay. And what year were you born?
I was born 46.
Okay. So the year that you were born is the year your grandfather came back to Nigeria.
In fact, that's the usual. When I become too hard at Hamilton, they'll say that could have been a pieces.
Oh, because when you came, you were wrapped in a cloth. Like domina. Yes, like for say you would have just been a pieces now one boat side they make.
So my grandfather came back, and because he was born at Hamilton, that's why he has his relatives. So he came back and went back to Hamilton. But for my grandfather, my grandfather had about 5 brothers and a sister.
Okay, the Faulkners.
Yeah, no, they were the Turners.
The Turners, because that's the maternal side.
Yes,
okay.
Maternal side.
Okay.
My grandfather was the first son of my great grandmother.
Okay.
All the others are now Turners.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. And the Turners also came from York.
I see.
To Hamilton,
came to Hamilton.
Yes.
Okay. So it's Turner, it's Faulkner.
So it's Turner, it's Faulkner.
Right. So for people who don't know, because sometimes people are asking me, your own Doherty, like if you fumble to other Doherty, and I can get for explain to her and say, we own Doherty now, we no more. The only Doherty where we fumble to, the one that we come on in Nigeria. If you're not Doherty, we're not to Nigeria, you come out, we're not related to. But Bossedeh, tell me what you know about your family's history and how they got to Freetown.
So me grandpa and great grandpa being come out Nigeria.
This na you grandpa, you mama side or your papa side?
Me mama side.
Maternal.
So I know more.
Okay, my maternal side. Okay.
So there were 4 brothers that came from Nigeria. So they were Ojumeri Taylor, Olsen Taylor, Wally Taylor. I don't remember the other Taylor. So there were 4 brothers that came to Sierra Leone from Nigeria, and they settled, and then they have like my great grandfather, and then my grandfather. So I knew
Did they come voluntarily or were they captives?
I don't think they were captive.
Okay.
Because they were like businessmen.
Okay.
So my great grandfather was a lawyer, and his father was a doctor.
Okay.
So they were professionals. They come willingly to Sierra Leone, and they intermarried with Creole people.
Okay.
So my grandfather was in Sierra Leone. He was a businessman, and then he went to like Kono, and then met my grandmother. So it was during this period in time when you have a lot of Sierra Leoneans that had traveled to Kono, the Diamond Rich district in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Business. So my grandmother and our 4 sisters were in Kono, who are also like part of the Creole ethnic group.
Okay.
And then they met there.
Okay, so they all been just they go Kono for go fend diamond.
Yeah, a lot of Sierra Leoneans were there before the war.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so do you feel like when you look at Creole culture today, starting with you, Bossedeh, do you feel like the culture is in a state of rebirth or resurgence, or do you feel like the culture is dying? And let me tell you why I ask both. It's because in a way, when I look around, one thing they notice now and not been noticed before. So for example, there's this explosion of like Creole fashion, right? Everywhere I turn now,
all man they wear prints.
I tell you.
All man they wear prints. Creo they wear all man. Even now, say the man and they wear prints.
I dey tell
Because they man no they wear prints. Now suits man they wear, right? So now the prints don't so it they inside the culture, whatever pop culture for salon. People and they married pan prints, like it really don't bust out. So in one way, I they look, I'm like, I don't know if not die the culture. It doesn't seem like that part seems like it is resurgent, right? But then I look on the other hand, where I look the what I go call Creole, maybe Creole values or beliefs. Like certain thing and they, I can tell where people can say this idea of a Creole woman who is in the community, who's keeping watch, neighborhood watch, right? Now, in the watch through a window for make sure, say, and anybody where you see, we do something, we go against the community values, it go set you straight. If you not set you straight right there, it go make them send, then go call so and so for we come. They can lodge complaints, say, now this and this I see, this is that. There was this thing of like protecting the community. That part, for example, I don't see as much as in, this is my impression, I could be wrong. I feel like a lot of Creoles I don't want to say they're not be seen, but the community as much, but they're not, they raise their voice, right? What they do now for raise their fence. So they're not going able to see, like, now what they see, now I go talk. So let I raise the fence. So for you as a young Creole person, do you feel like the culture is resurging or do you feel like it's receding?
Okay, to the other parts, what were you talking about? Creole people used to care for the community. And I think it's still, but not too much as it was. I think so because people in non-cost and so we can go so the best thing about the raise the fence. But like people are doing it. My father, like there was like a mob and my father called the police. And like he's proud that he did that. And I know someone, and my grandmother, there's someone go to the market and then the lady said she wants fangadama. She's like, did you know that they buy fangadama? Like we touch mokuso.
What is fangadama?
So it's something just to make sure it's for like ritual purpose.
Oh, okay. Like black magic. Okay, like juju.
Yeah, I tell you.
Okay.
So me gonna go.
Is it like a powder substance or root? Herbs?
Yeah, so
different things.
Okay.
It will have like beans, it will have corns, rice.
Okay.
Different things.
Okay.
So me gonna go arrange the person good. And in a market, you will say, people come look all the church, they go and church. So it's still good one. Like people then still is busy but the people then. But we don't not too you talk say we don't raise with fence then because of all waiting don't they happen. But the question you asked if the Creole culture is dying or it's on a rebirth. So for me, I think the culture is not dying.
Okay.
So it doesn't have elements of a culture that's dying. So one of the elements of cultures that are dying, these are cultures that refuse to change.
Okay.
And the Creole culture is not refusing to change.
Okay.
Or these are cultures that allow extreme change. Well, I strongly believe the Creole culture is not allowing extreme change. So the Creole culture is not dying because there are a lot of people that are preserving the culture in one way or the other.
Okay.
And the Creole culture is very dynamic. Okay. For culture to survive in the 21st century or in this present time, it has to evolve.
Okay.
It has to change. And it has to be able to assimilate other culture and allow other people that are not part of the ethnic group to be able to assimilate into the culture. And I think that's exactly what the Creole culture is doing.
Okay.
For instance, we are one of the smallest ethnic groups in Sierra Leone. I have less than 1%. And our language is spoken by 4 million people, or over 90% of the population in Sierra Leone. And which is, everyone is assimilating into the Creole language. And they're talking the Creole language. It might not be proper as the Creole people will say it.
Right.
And also like the dress code. So before, in the early 18th century or the 19th century, the people that will wear the Creole prints will only be Creole person.
Sure.
So it's a Creole lady, a Creole woman,
Right.
not a man.
Yeah.
So it's a way of identifying someone that you're Creole. But now it's embracing other culture, having other people using the Creole print, and also like in different style, dynamism, like
Sure.
people can do different pattern, and just the Creole folk tales, like the story about Spider and Infamble them, Coney Rabbit, like people are still telling those story, and the Creole language and the Creole slangs, like there are a lot of musicians that's using the Creole slangs in their words, and just the values and the cultures, people are preserving it, but in a modern way. So there's lots of like modernity in
Sure,
it. But
sure.
I don't feel say the Creole culture, the wata.
Okay, you don't
Yes.
think it's watering down?
Yeah, I swear.
Okay. Daddy, what would you say? Do you feel like the culture is growing and thriving, or do you feel like, there's a threat to the Creole culture and way of life?
I really bless it.
Okay.
It's working now.
In what way?
Because, for example, as I was saying, going to church on first Sunday, you cannot, in those days, you would not want somebody to even see you going to church without a suit. Your neighbor would not see you going to church without a suit. That's an only, you don't think about it. And even in those days, people would not wear, men would not wear, what call it? Prints. No, they would wear cotton.
Okay.
Cotton, or print. In fact, there was a time also we were going to Banjul. The family that were going to support said we should wear prints. I refused.
Why?
Wear prints.
Because men don't wear pants.
So what I did was I had to ask them to just to line the pockets.
Okay, make small prints.
Yes, with the material.
So you go there with the ashobi.
Because I would say, if Ghana can see me, gap, he can say wear prints. He would say, man, what's happening? You see? Because I will tell you, and that very slack way of wearing prints, right, has been developed by our friends, not by us. Yeah, that very slack of wearing prints.
Not to Creole begin prints for Creole.
No.
Yes, Creole man.
Yes,
now other people they make and fashion.
I know. Besides those days, the only seamstress that would sew prints are Creoles.
Okay. Yeah.
Now every tribe
Yes.
is showing print.
But they don't pass them. They don't pass the technique on.
It's not before they do it with embroidery.
Yeah.
Now they do it with all type of lace and this and that.
Oh yes, then they change.
Yes.
Then they. Not all. Yeah, they.
Before it was extremely embroidery.
Right.
Now it's not.
Right.
It's they have slave design.
Right.
And but that you see, you would, because we are beginning of intermarriage. First of all, if I'm a Creole man, if I'm married to somebody that's just brought up in a Creole, when I talk my Creole, it's different to us.
Of course.
Good. So when I'm not in the house, and she speaks Creole to my child, what's she talking? Is it Creole or what?
Okay, I have a question for you, sir.
Yes.
Since my mother is not a Creole woman, were you not concerned about, having children? You had me with a woman who's not Creole.
Yeah.
Were you not concerned about spoiling my Creole-ness by bringing a Timini woman into your life?
No, I was in because even your grandmother also, right, was brought up by a Creole.
True.
So she also had, part of the Creole culture. Yeah. So she was. In fact, she was at times she was stricter.
Very strict.
But I tell you, because of that, intermarriage.
Because you felt like even though the ethnic group was different, the culture was shared.
Yes.
So you didn't feel like you were bringing someone of a different culture.
Yes.
Plus, of course, my mama only learned Timini when we become adults.
Yes.
There's also that.
And also because when I was as I was saying, when I talk Creole, people are like
Yes, we know. We know. So you not
the other person can't talk Creole. When to there, this to me, I get can't talk Creole to be Creole picking. Then where I come, they can say, "Wait, I did pan come, I did pan eat."
But me mama don't one day say I don't talk. Yes. In fact, my mama English she dey talk self. So please.
It depends cap.
Yes.
Yes.
What's it depend cap?
Yes.
So the people that are not natural native Creole speaker will speak like terrible. Their Creole are not
Yes.
as good as ours, but it doesn't mean they're not speaking Creole. You know, like English.
Sure. You can speak broken English.
Yeah, it's-
so you can speak broken Creole.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we just spend a lot of time to like
Yeah.
just speak proper, but it's still Creole. And also one of the things that your father mentioned, it's also how the Creole have been able to assimilate other people into the Creole culture. So you have like the Creole people by type, by ancestry, but you have other people, as you said, culture is one that's passed
Sure.
on
Absolutely.
ancestry and also like to like social behavior. So that's what he's mentioning. So there are other people who are not Creole by ancestry,
Of
but they are
course.
Creole by culture.
Yes.
So they have been assimilated. So they are adjacent Creole. And a lot of people are being assimilated into the Creole culture, which is also good. And he also mentioned of the people doing the paint, which were also like Creole women. A lot of Creole women now love education. They're having like white collar job, and they might not be able to do it. And the culture might have died if it was only to those Creole women.
Sure.
But now everyone is carrying on a culture.
Right. The one thing that helps, I think, if the demand for print was only Creoles demanding print, then the skill would die, because then go say, what's mean they go learn for make prints for, because business not there, right? But because so many people are demanding it now, even possibly not being get interest for sabi learn how for make prints, get for go learn. Sometimes you not go do on the purest way, right? But because I know so then they make prints and they use brown paper, right, for do the embroidery. Now they give that
That was
stiffness.
in those days. Now they just buy this and they design, they cut it.
No, that they be not constant prints. And print adjacent. Now guinea, now print adjacent, right? So I wouldn't. The other thing that, as one of the things, there are certain things that when I think of Creoles that traditionally, that I consider like Creole institutions, right? Things like, for example, Oje and Onting and Lodge, right? Are those Creole cultural institutions still continuing to this day to preserve Creole culture, or have they also been assimilated? What's your knowledge or experience with it?
Well, I think they still continuing.
But are they still a big part of Creole life?
Well, I don't think they still be part of Creole life. My grandfather was part of the lodge.
Okay.
And he was like the district grandmaster of Sierra Leone and the Gambia. And he did so much, like he worked in lodge even after he retired.
Okay.
And he enjoyed it. And we knew people that were part of like hunting and going on. But my grandfather was not able to pass it on to my uncles. They were all born again Christians, and so
because they're not born again Christian, what thing they not be able to do?
So if they're born again, they're like, you have the Methodist, the Anglican, the Pentecostal. So the Pentecostal like preached against like secret society.
Okay, so then the born agains are not go able to join Oje or Ontin in lodge.
Yes, so they're not able to do. But most Creole are not part of Pentecostal churches.
Okay.
They're part of Methodist, Anglican,
Okay.
and few are part of Catholic Church.
Okay.
So for those, I think they might be able to join it.
Okay, Daddy, what do you know of lodge and hunting and Oje societies? Did you ever join any?
Yes.
What have you been joined?
Hunting.
Okay, you've been hunting?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember. You used to wear that straw hat.
Yes, yes.
With your white shorts.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me about your experience in hunting society. Why did you join?
First of all, in our society, I mean, what we in our village. If you are going up and you are pushing the holidays, you need to belong, otherwise your holiday will be sour. Because when you are moving around and see those who are members of that society,
The hunting.
yeah, or multiple society, and they group together, they are talking, that they might be discussing something very foolish, so of no meaning. But when the shoe come in,
And they love
right,
to talk.
they discuss. What it means, you do not belong. So to be part of that society, to be going out with them in the night and around,
To hang out.
you need to be part of them.
Okay.
That's how I became. I accepted my society.
Sure. That's what was the order of the day in the community.
Yes,
Sure.
And also when you begin to involve in politics and don't approach some people, you need to know how to talk to them.
Okay.
So you need to belong to indigenous societies.
Okay.
But let me tell you why probably I'm not a member of the lodge.
Okay.
Or I didn't. By the time I was staying with my grand-uncle, one of the toners,
Okay.
then I just left school, left the high school.
The Circular Road?
No, Point Street.
Point Street. Okay.
Point Street. But there's just one Point Street. It's not a three-story building. And my uncle was going to the lodge, jumped in his car and was driving around. Then we were playing ball in the street. Then when he came from lodge, the next morning he was talking to me. I said, but we'll never call our grandparents, or I call it uncle. I said, uncle, I need to go join lodge. He said, okay. I said, what if I go join lodge? I'm going to play ball night.
Lodge man for play ball last year.
See, you go to a lodge, you play ball night.
Oh, basically, you get for compulsory.
Yes. You go to a class.
Yes,
The highest peak of gentlemen.
Na Aristo. Yes, na Aristo.
My grandfather always used to say the same. He would say, "For man, not a join lodge. If you want to join lodge, land book." Like one me Patelo family always go to me grandpa say, "Hey, Patelo, I want to join lodge for land book. Let's sit once back for land book." So you know I can join.
So then I said to uncle, if I not for deal with the common man, to ball with them, I don't go join.
Right.
That was it.
Right.
Yes. Because I expect for joining for belong to a particular class.
Right. And we go up enough for
No
candle.
for candle. Yes.
Yeah, but like the aunties in our generation, apart from my grandfather, so I have a friend and I have some friends that are part of the auntie. So I have a particular friend, so he studied law in Denmark, and he's part of the auntie society.
Okay.
And he go out in the streets,
Okay.
he dance. And I think, so he enjoyed it and other people
It's a cultural thing.
And few years back when the government was allowing like the auntie and other masquerade to parade the streets, so we will go and dance with them when I was younger, and we will have like our Aristo aunties that will come out from like the big houses and they'll find them a seat and they'll watch. There was like everybody was like they will just come together.
So you can be a spectator or a participant.
Yeah, you can be a spectator.
Right.
Yeah, I was invited once for like a lodge dinner, and it was like normal. My grandfather told me it's normal with God. It was normal. Yeah, we had a dinner. We went into the temple. They read the Bible. So it was a Bible,
Right.
And they gave us someone. So it was like normal. So they were like everybody. I think I haven't sat to the university exam at that time. So it was like
The old society is a society of secrets you don't know. The lodge is also a society. It's a secret you don't know. So if you are not in it, right, you don't know what it is.
Right.
Right. So you have to respect what you are.
Of course.
Yes. So it just boiled down to what you were saying about our culture being African and being European. So the auntie.
So the lodge is the European.
Yeah, because it's like the Freemasons, et cetera, right, the Enlightenment. Okay, so as we come to wrap up the conversation, the other thing we haven't touched on is that historically, Creoles were really Sierra Leone's first Black administrators or government leaders, educators. Creoles were the intelligentsia, right, in Sierra Leone and also for much of West Africa because of Fourbe College, right? Naturally, we have Fourbe College, we have the Sierra Leone Grammar School, we have the Annie Walsh. These are the earliest kind of institutions of learning in the sub-region, some of the earliest institutions of learning, like Western style education. And with that meant that they brought Creole culture, of course, not a left-in culture na the way can work place, right? So it meant that when you went to government offices, when you went to places of worship, when you went to any side administrations, they were in a government administration. The people who were there leading that administration were oftentimes Creoles. Today in Sierra Leone, not that Creoles are no longer a part of administration, but it's changed, right? Now where you the government they form in a salon, you can able pick the Creole one in terms of like top leadership or cabinet. Tell me that this country, if you form sober government, Creole and boku inside the government, right? But now in Sierra Leone, you find Creoles are just not as involved in government administration, or at least at the top level. You don't also find Creoles involved in politics. If you look at the political parties and you look at the top leaders of the political parties in Sierra Leone, you do not see Creoles. Do you think that, and this is quite funny, but do you think that the Creoles all held a meeting and they all just called themselves to themselves in Greece, say, we know they put we on politics, we know they put we on administration, government, or did something else happen? What happened? Is it that Creoles were pushed out, you think, or do you think that Creoles exited? What, according to you, Bossedeh, you think was the turning point maybe for Creole withdrawal, or either withdrawal, or if you know withdraw, now push them, push you, exclusion? Is it Creoles were withdrew, or they were excluded from administration, government, and key leadership?
So I think they were withdrew. They
withdrew.
They withdrew from key
leadership.
Key leadership, and also they were just taken out. So there was a significant event in 1898, which was the tax war, which was like the peak of colonial administration, where the British colonial administration needed money to fund their project in all of West Africa. So they instituted an tax war where they said like everyone, especially people in the protectorate, should pay a tax for their houses, which break out into a war. So after it broke out into the war, there were like accusation against the Creole people. So the native Sierra Leoneans in the protectorate accused the Creole of inciting the colonial administrator to institute the hot tax war.
The hot tax, okay.
Yes, and to like just fight them, and also the colonial administrators also blame the Creole of also like encouraging the native to rebel against the colonial administration. Sure. So after that, there was an exclusion of Creole in major
colonial exclusion.
Yes, colonial exclusion. Okay. So in major position.
So you think it started a government policy after the hot tax war the British decided to reduce the Creole presence or political power, government power.
Yes.
That's where you think it comes from.
Yes. Okay. And also because politics also, so that was like the colonial period. And also politics is bad. It's about numbers.
Right.
So votes are not a way. So that's when you're intelligent or you have education, then you'll be voted for. So political parties will want people that belong to ethnic groups or regions where they have larger population, where they will have people voting. So for the people in the South, so they will take people in the South or the North or the East because they belong to like
larger groups. Okay.
And the Creole Western area, it's almost like a floating state. So sometimes it can be red, sometimes it can be blue, because you have a lot of like elites in Western area. So you might not.
So it can be blue.
No, it can be green.
Oh, okay, I'll say, put on this blue again.
It can be green.
But let's talk about, again, Daddy, let's go to government. I mean, Bossedeh mentioned that even before the establishment of Sierra Leone, like independence, there was already this kind of colonial attempt to dispossess the Creoles of power in administration. You got into, you're not government worker, you got into government, etc. At the time that you joined the police force or you got into government, did you feel like, were Creoles did you feel like Creoles were welcome? Did you feel like this was a place where you belonged? Was there an attempt to like integrate? And over time, do you feel like Creoles have withdrawn from government and politics and leadership, or do you think that they've been pushed out and excluded?
Well, actually, when I joined the police force in 1971, you had, several, like about 75% of the senior positions were held by, by the Creole.
Okay.
But what I think happened with this, with dual or whatever you call it of the Creoles, is that gone are the days when the Creole will go to Britain or to study and then come back home. So in that process, in going to studies, so they're not coming back home. I know if you are pushed out to your
Brain drain, basically.
Because for example, because we know people who had gone to study in Britain, in America, in Britain, would want to come back home to serve.
Yeah.
Lawyers, doctors, and whatever.
And many did.
Yes.
There was a time when it was the norm.
There was a time. There was kept a time when children of those who've been to Britain before, right, would go back to study and they would not come back.
Okay.
They would go and they would not come back. Okay. And then they begin to say, for example, you go, in those days, they give you government scholarship.
Right.
So after you studied,
come back. Come back and serve.
You graduated.
Yes.
You have to come back.
Yes.
Because they know you there for 5 years. And when you've completed, by the time you finish your course, you have your ticket to come back home. But now people go, when people go privately, they don't have the urge to come back.
No obligation.
No, but no, they go and they just stay there. And also, as I was saying, because of politics, it's like the Creole term is even eating up.
Sure.
It can be in one of two ways. If I marry a Creole, a Timni woman, or Congo woman, right? That child, starts to, get attached to the mother's family.
Sure.
Right? She can go back to the province and say, oh, your mother local.
Yes. I belong here. Sure.
The Creole can't do that.
Of course.
The Creole can't do that. And that in the process of going to Britain or America and not coming back, right? It's like either we become eliminated or we remove ourselves.
Right.
And so it's like, and when probably people who belong to the tribes observe that we are not coming back.
Right.
They are coming back.
Yes.
And when they're coming back to take the jobs.
Of course.
And it seems as like it has become tribal that if I'm sitting in a chair, if I'm a Creole, I try to see if I can bring a Creole man near me.
Sure.
If I'm in local, I want to bring my brother near me.
Of course, naturally.
So that is it. And as they go up, go up in the service, right? It's like everyone wants to see his tribesman, coming up.
Like family.
Yes.
Sure.
So it's that we're not probably looking for who can do the job.
Right. I want my people to prosper, and if there's an opportunity, I'm not necessarily looking like the best person. I'm looking for, even if not so the best, if not the second or third best, I go manage. And why? Because I'm a person. And
also, like in the 60s and 70s, we are the leaders who are saying, right, we're going to give back Sierra Leone to the people, to Sierra Leoneans. That's it. Because there are some people who probably think that the Creoles are also actual Sierra Leoneans. Right. They are saying, we're going to give Sierra Leone back to Sierra Leoneans. Okay. And that's when they begin to shift, and now we are where we are.
Yes. There's this saying that they said all natives are citizens, but not all citizens are natives. So it was really, probably was not written in our law, but it was like part of the laws of Sierra Leone, which discriminate against the Creole. So Creole, before 2022 or 2020, Creole person cannot buy land in the provinces.
All right, the law, right?
It's like
until they change the land.
Yeah. But what also significant, your father mentioned, about, we were talking about the people traveling overseas and also administration. So for the part of like administration, we feel were just like the chemistry of the 19th century. And their excellence was not only in Sierra Leone, but they also traveled to different places and intermarriage like your father's ancestors.
Right.
But so in those places that they travel, they've been able to preserve the Creole culture.
Absolutely.
So
Sure.
in places in Gambia, people talk Salone Creole.
course.
In Gambia, you have Sierra Leone, you have places in Cameroon, people talk Salone Creole, and Equatorial Guinea, and Nigeria, of course, Delta State, Ajimota, people talk Sierra Leone Creole. So, and also, so people in those places, also part of Liberia, people talk Salone Creole. So people in those places have been able to preserve the Creole culture. And also people in places in overseas, in America and in the UK, have been also able to preserve the culture. There's Creole Descendants Union in those different places. And they have time where they come together and talk, and also they preserve the language because they still, Creole is, some houses, Creole is the primary language of communication.
No, they still talk Creole. I went to an inter-secondary school picnic in Maryland over the summer, where it was mostly alumni from grammar school, PO, this. And it was interesting because the audience was very old. Like, it was definitely people who were 50, over 50. And you could tell that these people, they don't left salon long. You know, like, these are people who, you don't say with them como salon, they know they plan for move can salon, and what they are doing to preserve, I'm not saying that Creole culture and they preserve, but Freetown culture, one way in which they're preserving it is through the like alumni organizations, right? Coming together with the schools, the dinner and dance, the fundraiser, the Thanksgiving, and the lunch on sale. Like, they're doing these small things that even though they're in the diaspora, like you said, KUD, Creole Descendants Union, every year they get the annual come together.
Also, America, and you get the fuller descendants.
Of course, all the different ethnic groups there, yes, they try for ways for them preserve the culture.
I mean, for wrap up the conversation now, my last and final question to Una now. Looking into the future, the next 50 years, the next 100 years, waiting you think say go happen to Creole culture? You think say go still there in existence, or you think say it go down so mix with other things? Something we go to people are not going to say, oh, then go like history. Oh, look at a Creole. This is what a Creole used to look at. Starting with you, Bossedeh, what's your outlook on the future of Creole culture and Creole life in Sierra Leone?
Creole people are so proud of being Creole.
Right.
It doesn't matter how
Now, way of life.
Yeah, no matter how poor or rich they are, they will always be proud of that. So you meet someone very poor in the street, and then you ask the person, what is your name? And he'll be so serious, like, me name now, and he called all his names, like 6 names. So
Your name for long,
yeah,
and heavy.
Even if you not get material gentry.
Yes, but the way you go call in name, it go show you say you get pride in a Creole identity.
Yeah, it go pote, it still go get in court for welfare Sunday.
Absolutely.
And Creole no go ever joke pan wedding or funeral. Those things have really been preserved. Aujo and other tribes are actually doing it. So there's possibility the Creole culture would go on in the next 100 years. And not only by the Creole tribe, but other people that have been assimilated in the
Awesome. Daddy, my question to you is, what do you think, 2 things you think Creole people today, alive today, can do for making them ensure, say, Creole culture go live on? Waiting at 2 things that we think they can do.
Unlike this young man, we think say the culture go day 100 years. Me not think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
Why not think so? One, intermarriage.
Okay.
Intermarriage. If you born picking with Uma to Creole or Mama to Creole, that begin the name within Victoria Jallo or Omotunde Sise, you go na life, what you say na woman, He got married to Mohammed Kuruma,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But she didn't get the old Pekin.
It don't done.
Creole did it again.
Creole not it again. That's true.
Creole did it again.
True.
And as we all see, then Creole been prominent in the salon. They're not the again.
Right.
They're all the America, they're all the England.
Yes. And then picking them back there,
No,
America,
then they
they
can't
all
at
England.
all.
Yes.
And if you look again, I can point 10 houses in this country. That's Freetown, 10 way when are there nothing will come and get them. Now Flaman get them now.
Okay.
Flaman get them. They don't sell all.
That's where you have it, fambo de you yegi. But una go no. When me papa die, me own Creole. I know they sell land. I know they sell property. I shall die with my property. I will go to the grave. Because to me, like one of the things that I can always tell people that we are very proud about for my Creole identity is that like I can always tell and say, you know, from where I'm born, I get me a landowner. Because as a Creole person, for me, my papa be always taken so important, say, Creole forget land, Creole forget property. For him, from where I'm born, like imagine from Pekin, I know say I get land. Or when my papa born in Pekin, all he buy land for all man, where them born. Because for part of being Creole, now for lay you get property, right? For pass on to Pekin. So that means that's something we value very much. So I like Apo, I not go get mine, take me ancestral land, now Hamilton village, I sell them because I go want for passing on to my own descendants, let them self pass, let them say, now so we come out. Because for Creole people, the way, because Creole, like how we talk earlier, say, now recently law change na salon for like Creole able buy land up country. Prior to that, Creole na Freetown normal we get, right? So it's like as a Creole person, if you not get land na Freetown, who say you come out? Who say you go? You not get village. You not go say, oh, la go bien, we not get land, but me ancestors, they come out na Bangbatok, where I go to we old village, da. Freetown is our land. Western area, rural na we land. Hamilton na we land. So if you sell it off, now that make people not go able to come back. Because if your ancestors, they left you land as a Creole person, or they left property, you take and you sell. Waiting connect you to Freetown. Nothing or left.
Yeah, Creo no sell in birthright for cocoa yebe.
That's right. Thank you. Creole not a sell in birthright for cocoa ebe. That was Bossedeh George, my guest here today on the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast. And you were also listening to my father, Victor Remoe-Doherty of the great, previously known as Hamilton Village, now Hamilton Tongue. Hamilton City, because according to Daddy, Hamilton is no longer a village. It will always be a village to me. You know? But yeah, so we were talking about Creole culture, its growth, whether or not it's dying out. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have enjoyed this conversation on the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast, what do we say? Share it with your friends, share it with your family on WhatsApp, on social media. And if you want other people that you don't know to discover this podcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you listen. The Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast was proudly recorded in studio in Freetown at VRNT Marketing Company. On camera one, we have our fantastic multimedia producer, Augustine Cargbo, and camera two, Alassane Lamine Cargbo. No relation to Augustine Cargbo, the Cargbo than just beaucoup na this country. And our co-producer and sound engineer is Frank Veen, Bob McEwen. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, una tata.